I got showered, cleaned up, all that. Walked her to work, went to Dollar Tree. I was coming back with the Target bag with my spotlight and my purchases from Dollar Tree. And I hear the two whoops off in the woods by where the deer carcass was coming up the hill. And later on at night is when Elizabeth had heard the whooping next to the tent after I passed out.
We got home at like 2 in the morning and, you know, just laying there trying to go to sleep. And he hears something moving and he's like, "Shh, it's Bigfoot." I don't want to go to sleep. Can we not listen for Bigfoot tonight? No, shut up, it's Bigfoot. So we're laying there, and I mean, oh my gosh, had to have laid there for like 15 minutes when just listening and nothing. I can't hear anything. And he's like, I think he passed out finally. And so I roll over to move, and up here behind our heads in this clump of trees area, I guess it was, when I move, there is this whooping sound. I can't even repeat this sound. It was the voice that we heard over by the front of the trail.
When we were coming up the trail about maybe like 2, 3 in the morning, we were coming up and we heard the whooping sound. And it was like a howl, more like. And when I was yelling at it, did this little number of like a high-pitched little whoop. Kind of like a yip, but a howl mixed together. I never heard anything like that, ever. And I heard all kinds of animals, especially out here.
That's what it sounded like, the voice that we heard over by the front of the trail, making this whoop, whoop sound. Weird, like I've never heard anything like it before.
And it continues, and that's when I yell at it. It does that little high-pitched number, keeps going at it. Its usual, like, tone, I guess you'd call it. And then a howl joins in. I guess it got pissed off. It's telling us to shut the hell up.
And you've never heard this sound before?
Never. From any kind of animal. I mean,
have you ever heard an owl before?
I've heard an owl.
So
we have owls.
You've heard them a bunch. You know.
At the same time as we heard the hollering over
there. We heard an owl the same time that we heard the hollering over there.
And you were able to distinguish that there were two different things.
I said, "Oh, an owl's joining in." That's exactly what I said when we were walking. He's screaming at this thing when we're over there. And then an owl joins in. I'm like, oh, now an owl's going to scream along, you know? It's like, so it's this thing, an owl and him screaming at each other over there.
So we rushed up here pretty much, and I'm shining, I'm looking, I'm having her, you know, like I'm basically putting myself, my back against her and facing the sound like as a human shield, you know? And so, walk her through here, and when we get about halfway down the trail, sound stops. Okay? And that's pretty much the end of it. We got in the tent, we laid down, we listened, didn't hear anything else, and fell asleep. And for a while then, activity had died down, and then recently we piqued its curiosity, I guess, and it's been back on the rise. It comes in waves, pretty much. If you give it a reason to be curious, it'll come be curious.
Yeah. Do you feel like this thing is threatening in any way?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think that because that day we had gone and taken Andy that way. Was it the day? No, or the day before, something like that. We had taken Andy that way. You know,
where it followed us from originally.
No, it followed me from that way, from the thicket.
But no, where we took Andy is where I got followed from.
We took Andy off that way, and we hadn't heard from this thing in a while. Seen it anywhere? Not since the encounter. Not since the the walking around here, and then the hollering over here. And this thing didn't smell. It's like we went that way, and then the next night it's here
Mm-hmm.
to say, what you guys doing? Why are you wandering again?
We have a permission slip to be here, and as opposing being on the other side of this hill, of this fence, this is privately owned land, and the cops fuck with homeless people, especially around here. Friends of mine have been panhandling. Like, I don't panhandle. My wife has a job, but they've told them, well, I get off in 5 minutes and I'm going to go get my regular truck. If you're still out here, I'm going to fucking run you over with it and kill you. Shit like that. Okay, because SAPD is crooked as hell, and I'm going to go out and say that on a limb. I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but I've experienced it my very own self. And without probable cause and obtaining a search warrant, they cannot cross this fence line to harass us. Our daughter lives very close by with her grandparents, and this is a safe, stable spot for us to get jobs. She has a job. I'm gonna get a job. I have it lined up. I need a social security card and work our way out of being homeless, living in the streets. And a lot of people posted, too brave to be there, too brave for your own good, things like that. Well, it's not that we necessarily want to be here. We don't have a choice. It's either here or under a bridge, and I'd rather be here than under a bridge where anything can happen.